homestead. Why am I calling this a homestead? I'm sitting next to the chicken coop. The water is over there. Chickens are out in the compost pile that way, and they are doing some work. I can use some of that compost today, I think, and I'll show you where I'll put it. But I think the whole idea of homesteading is really a mindset. As Jess from Roots and Refuge repeatedly says, anybody can homestead, even if you're living in an apartment. The idea is just to try and grow your own food, try to create things rather than just always using things, be a little more self-sufficient, or rely on a community of people who are like-minded. So that's what I'm trying to do, trying to grow the food. I started last year because I saw how the previous couple years we were locked down, told we had to get certain medications even if we didn't think it was right. The shelves were empty in some cases. Anyway, it woke me up to how fragile our system is, and I wanted to start learning the skills that my grandparents knew. I think we lost a lot of the skills to help us survive. And it's not too late. I'm 70 now. I started when I was 69. I already knew how to garden pretty much. I've been trying to restore native plants. But growing food, cooking that food, preserving that food, that's all pretty new to me. And I'm trying to learn to enjoy cooking. Anyway, I will take you around and show you something, starting with our chick coop, which, by the way, I have this nice seating area. I love to put chairs out in the garden. I don't sit in them very often, but I like the looks of them. And when I start a new area of the yard, when I make an improvement, that's usually my favorite part for a while. So I'll take you around. Here's the new seating area by our chickens, by the hen house. Currently I think the chickens are all down in the compost pile. They moved. There's the compost pile. The chickens, I don't know where the chickens went. They do escape sometimes. I don't see them. Let me go. Oh, there they are. They are hiding. Look at that. Look how cute they are, just kind of soaking up the sun a little bit. I'm going to use that compost later. I'll show you where. So now, I'll have to show you the nesting box. I put the ceramic eggs in. Those aren't real eggs. It's to get the girls to lay eggs there, which I think could be happening any day, though probably not for a couple weeks. Got a lot of wood here because we took down an ash tree in the front yard, which gave me a lot of sun for growing food. And emerald ash borer is a problem in our area, so the tree was going to come down anyway. Plus we got solar to help provide energy. Our power has gone out 4 times already this year, and the last time it was out for 20 hours, so I was very thankful for the solar. The water is super low, though we have had close to 3 inches of rain in the last 11 days, so it's starting to come back up. And we do like to boat with our kayaks and canoe. Now we're heading to the grocery row garden. You can see where I have fenced off areas. Those are little fruit trees. An apple tree, plum tree, cherry tree, and growing at the base of them, I just harvested all the garlic. But I've got brassicas, I've got sweet potato, and I'm not sure how well they'll do. I'll show you the canopy. This past winter we had 50% of the canopy reduced where the sun travels. Trying to get me more sun here. I don't know if it's enough. This is a little elderberry I started just from Can you see that? Just from this stake or cutting. I planted a lot of them. About half of them took. And I'm planting comfrey because that's so good at fertilizing the soil. I've got all these flowers in here, mostly native flowers, but this was just a area of the garden that I just trying to make like a prairie. But now I'm trying to stuff food in it. Okay. There's our cherry tree. It's trying to come back after the deer ate it. I've put this fencing up around this back garden, back food garden. This is called Napa Chardonnay. Here, I love the whole farm thing. Here's our cattle panel to make a trellis. And the beans got eaten off there, but they just all up at the top, though it's hard to see. I'm gonna open up this gate. I like these fence posts. They just step right into the garden and I can move them easy. I just wish they were taller, to have taller fencing to discourage the deer. I realized I've planted way too many flowers and I didn't realize they'd get so big. And they're shading out other things. Here's my cucamelon. I had the nasturtiums. Who knew nasturtiums could get so big? So there's tomatoes in here, but you can hardly see them for the flowers. My peas, I didn't keep up on them. They're still pretty edible though, and it is really warm. We just had mid-90s and humid last week. Here's my cauliflower. It's still not producing any heads, so I've got to read up on that. My broccoli here, I think I have 3 different kinds. It didn't do very well. I mean, I got some, like for instance, oh, I don't know if you can even see that. There's a bunch of little broccolis. They're very yummy. I don't make enough to bring in and use, but I'll eat them in the garden. I have 4 kinds of cabbage here, and they're doing okay. I have my greens, and the arugula is trying to go to seed, so I just keep picking it off. Carrots are doing pretty good. These potatoes here, all fallen over from our big winds. Oh cow, look at, how can I show you? Got a poor bee in here. I'll dump him out. Hopefully he'll survive that. But I think it's almost time to harvest those potatoes. I should have been covering them up better. I saw the top of a green one there, and we're not supposed to let the sun get to them or they turn green, which is a bad thing. I guess it could be toxic. My grandson's potatoes, he's got a purple one here and Yukon Gold there. Oh, here is where I'm lining this garden with logs, since we have an abundance of logs. And the idea is I'm going to put the compost in here. These potatoes, I tried digging up some already just to see what the new ones look like. And it's much, even though I've amended it with compost and soil, it's still super hard. So I just want to add, at least 4 inches, maybe 6 inches of compost. And the logs will help hold it in. So there's the view of the hen house. Over here, this is a hosta I started from seed back in my hosta living days. The thing is huge. I don't know if you can see how big those leaves are. But I'm trying to amend the soil in here too. I've stuck a bunch of tomatoes. Look at, these are those those Napa Chardonnays, they're really starting to produce now. And a few other varieties. Here's the fencing we're going to use around the fruit trees in the grocery row garden that's back there. It's 6 feet tall. Hopefully that'll be enough to protect them. This is a green stalk, one of them. It's this plant tower where you just water it up inside there, the reservoir, and it trickles down to all the levels. Mostly works pretty good. Look at these cayenne peppers. I imagine you let them get red and then dry them and use them for chili or whatever. Lettuces are doing really well in there. Got a teeny little micro tomato growing in here. This looks like cilantro that's now growing coriander seeds. Really, I will sure grow this little petunia again. I started it from seeds, something called Sparkler. This is the only green stock I'm growing on the deck. Oh, give you an idea. There's the hen house back there, the back garden, and then what will be the grocery row garden. A thing in progress. And the stream, which is so overgrown you can hardly see the water, but you can still hear it. Now I'm in the front yard. And this is where we have a lot more sun because the ash tree was taken down. Right in the front here, oh my goodness, it's sort of droopy. These are just cuttings from tomatoes like this one. It just came from a cutting where you take the suckers off of the armpit. I've got some more. They root in water in like 5 days. More sweet potato vines. Got the strawberries. Those are the June bearing with onion around them. More June bearing back there with some Thai basil in the middle. This little thing is doing better since I fertilized. It's the pineapple sage, the blue butterfly. Is that the name? Supposed to get brilliant blue. Oh my goodness, we have a blue. It got one. It looks like I missed it. It's past its peak. I think fertilizer was the thing I needed. This little tiny tomatoes. See, I'm calling this the potager garden. Potager, is that how you say it? Garden? Because it means kitchen garden, and I just thought it sounded cool when I was watching Elliot Homestead and she was talking about hers. These little peppers here are firecracker peppers. So I don't know if they'll turn to different colors. Here's one of 4 green stalks here. The alyssum got way huge. The lettuce, you can tell I'm not eating my lettuce. Should be taking these off. It's probably going to be too late and just bitter. That's potatoes planted in there. My husband planted 2 rows of them and I planted 1 because I had leftover potatoes and they were quite ugly, but the plants look pretty good. Still got some Joe Pye in here. Still have some hostas in here. This was a shade garden. And I'm gradually turning it over to all food production. And flowers, and probably we'll keep some hostas in here just because I still do like them. And here is the old ash tree. And it was kind of a sad thing when we took it down, but we put the top of it here because I had a space in the garden. This was like a little seating area and it made a good spot to put the top of the tree. And all these sticks in here is because I'm trying to come up with a trellising system for grapes. I've got the Wild River grape just came in here on its own. It's our native one. But I did plant 3 or 4 varieties of table grapes that are seedless, and I will have to learn which are which. There, so you can see, and I'm trying to get them to grow up there. There's one growing up, one over here. You can see the holes in the leaves. Those are from the Japanese beetles, which aren't as bad this year for me as they were. And then that's the last one. But I'm trying to figure out how to make a little trellis system that's rustic and attractive and will provide a wall of eating grapes. Here's some more green stalks, and I planted this full of onions. I'm still trying to figure out what I can grow in green stalks. What's too big? So I will maybe take some of these out, maybe. Oh, maybe not. Oh, that doesn't want to come out. Oh! Well, that didn't work. But the idea is to pull them out as they and allow the last remaining ones to get bigger. Will this one come out? So there's kind of a small one and leaves more room for the others to get big. And look at these. These are little micro dwarf tomatoes. The tomatoes only get a foot high, and it's loaded with sweet little cherry tomatoes. Here is an apple tree protected by the deer, and this is where that new fencing is supposed to make it a lot easier to work with. In here I have tomatoes, lots of tomatoes, sweet potatoes, squash, have the red acre cabbage in the middle. Here we have peppers in the grow bags. I'm trying my hand at growing blueberries. I've been getting some blueberries. They're just brand new this year. My grandson's garden. So he's got 3 kinds of tomatoes, the spaghetti squash, 2 kinds of cucumbers, and one of them is the Armenian yard-long one. That's in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Look at this thing. It's getting huge, but it's fuzzy. I didn't know they came fuzzy, and I don't know if it's really a melon, but they're calling it a cucumber. He's got 3 kinds of peppers. This one, I don't know how to pronounce that even, but I guess you're supposed to let it get red. Oh. Ajvarsky pepper. Supposed to be very tasty. And let's see. This is another kind of pepper, another blueberry. Let's see, can you see the little blueberries there? Yesterday I ate all the blue ones off. Here's down the side garden. The neighbors are kind enough to let me turn the lawn into a prairie garden. And there are a bunch of things I could eat or harvest for tea and medicinal purposes once I learn how to do that. And coming back around, another green stalk. My zinnias. I didn't know zinnias could get so big. I probably would not have planted them here. Got beans in here, and they're producing a little bit. I think it's time. I think I can plant some beans for fall right now. Oh, another sitting spot because I love those. So I've been sauteing these with garlic and in tallow that I got from some bones when I made beef broth, bone broth. Oh, is it yummy? Another tomato. I probably put too many. I'm just crowding stuff way too much. I need to figure out what I'm doing. Lots of tomatoes. And that's about it. and the neighbors are having some work done in the yard. The drawback to living in suburbia. Things are convenient, but they can be noisy. I think that is all that I wanted to show you.